Well, hello there. Did you hear Hilary Lucas coming to you from North Salt Lake? Um, Preparing to go and do an interview with one of my friends. His name's Ilya. He's from Russia. He was in a pretty big punk band recently here in Salt Lake City. Gonna be meeting up with him in about an hour or so and doing an interview with him. So I'd just like to touch on a couple points that I recognized in the last week or so with my life. For me, it's been kind of a challenge to decipher my calling, where I fit in, what I'm supposed to do. But as of lately, I've focused in on not only just becoming more balanced and, knowing what my boundaries are and, kind of having an idea of what type of person I want to be and what type of people I want to be around with, And, it always boils down to the people that are going to help me grow the most. I more or less want to be around, It's a healthy thing in my mind. And, this last year, I really had to, cut off some friends that I've known for a while, I've had to create distance because even though my head thinks a certain way about people in certain situations, my heart sometimes goes the opposite, and knowing how and when to flip off the brain and just go with heart has been a huge challenge. I believe my last video I talked about clearing the head, keeping it empty as possible, because that's where the pre-programming and a lot of our diseases live. It's a mental underlying programming that's been around for ages, I do have to say this, I'm getting to a point in my life, I know everybody has disorders and things going on with them, and I've been attracted to these types of people for a very long time, and I'm to the point in my life where I'm kind of I think in most cases, some of the people that I have been drawn to who have mental disorders and things going on with them is just to help me feel grateful for where I am. I mean, I know I do have some disorders going on with me, but I'm functional, and I'm very happy about that. I'm very grateful for that. I don't know that I'll always be functional, as time goes by, the older I get. But I think it really has to do, again, since I've started this channel, it's really been about maintenance the whole time. What things are you watching? What things are you listening to? What are you putting in your body? Stuff like that. And I am not a great, a class A student and all that, I have my addictions. I have things I like to consume that aren't good for me sometimes, but, it's always been about that balance, because there are points in time when my body says, hey, stop eating that shit. We're gonna have you eat this instead, you know. And duly noted, it always makes me feel better. I just really come to a point in my life where, like, back in the day, okay, and this is back when I was a meth head, I would put myself around people that were not good, that murderers, rapists, thieves. I put myself around those people in order to get what I needed, my drugs, right? So, having put myself in some pretty dangerous situations, you know, I'm to the point, because, you know, I haven't touched that crap in like 2.5 decades at least, you know, but still I find myself at some certain points, like when I got into recovery and I got clean from everything, therefore I didn't hang out with anybody that drank or used. I only hung out with people in recovery or people that weren't using. And now I'm in a point in my life where, you know, the boundaries have lessened there, because, you know, I'm an entertainer, and I'm in the lifestyle where drugs are being used, alcohol is being drinking, and all that, you know. But I still have to have boundaries. You know, I've never gone back to the chemical world, never will. I stick with hallucinogenics and, you know, my main med, THC. So I've had to put myself in situations in order to get to a certain spot where I was hanging out with people that did these things, and not meth per se, because I really can't stand people that get high off that shit. Like, I put myself through a couple situations in the last 6 months where I did go around tweakers, and it was like, it just wasn't me. I did it with good intentions, but I still put myself in a situation where I don't belong here, don't know what I'm doing here. And I think in a couple of the situations I was in, you know, I thought maybe me being there would be a good thing, or would create some kind of example, but realizing how much this chemical warfare that we go through as addicts, it's crazy. It takes a toll on your mind. And like I said, for me, in order to follow intuition, I have to shut my mind off, because it jumps in, tries to take the steering wheel, and things don't go where they're supposed to go. And so, having hung out with some people that were still doing that, and just recognizing and realizing that I'm in the right place, that where my life sits is where it's supposed to be. Not only that, it brought forth gratitude of where I am today. You know, the tables have turned. I mean, back when I was using meth and doing dumb shit, I always had a place to live, had my own spot. And then when I got clean for a decade, had my old spot, better spot. And now that I'm at a point where, you know, I have my meds, and I have meds that I take to help me do certain things, mainly focus. Focus is a huge thing with me. because I can get easily distracted. I think, and the more aware I've become of this in the last few years, the more I've veered away from certain activities. Like, I think TV has been the biggest, because growing up in the 70s and 80s, TV was a huge thing. It was a good way to lose yourself and get for a little while, you know. And now I hardly ever watch it. And I think it's all I'll watch movies. I love comedy movies, rom-coms, chick comedy, stuff like that. But it's rare, as of lately, in the last couple months, that I even get to watch something, because I'm either at work, then after I get off work, I come down here and chill, and I'll listen to some tarot card readings, I'll do some writing, and rarely sometimes I'll turn on TV and watch a show I like, or try to get into a movie, but it never really lasts long, and I don't get caught up in it. I don't know if it's because all I have is a phone to watch TV on, or what it is. But I had to do a lot of things to veer away from the society way of life, because I know it's not for me, and it's not okay. Okay, I know I'll get shadow banned for this one, but yesterday was a Super Bowl, right? Do you think I watched it? Hell no. I haven't watched the Super Bowl since '86. And I don't know if I just lost interest in '86 because I was fairly young, or what, but I know for a fact that when the Super Bowl's going on, bigger things are in play. One huge distraction that the masses in the United States and other places tune into that. The vast majority tune into that. And when you got a lot of people watching the same programming, I don't know, it seems like a red flag to me. And the thing, I seen a clip about the halftime show and something about America, and it's just all it's all a shit show. It's all a scam. It's all a setup. Always has been, and always will be, because they got the masses. They got them masses, boy. Tell you that what. I've just been really amazed about how this 3D world is so fake. So damn fake, and everything's so set up and planned and already written. And a good example, I might have talked about this, Battle of the Bands. It was Metal Night, 4 bands for the show. The first 3 were heavy fucking metal. The 4th band was not. They were pop punk, but there were 3 females dressed skimpily, and so this was Battle of the Bands heavy metal night, and those chicks won. They're a great band, don't get me wrong, great band. They do have heavy songs. I've seen them before this competition, and they had some heavy stuff. They did not play one iota of any of their heavy music. They played all pop punk, which is not heavy metal, nowhere near. So as the winners being called, all three bands that I know have probably worked on their art more than, I don't know. This is just my feeling. I just feel like the people that worked their asses off didn't get enough recognition, and the winners shouldn't have been the winners. And it just goes to show how like a more popular style of music would win, because heavy metal, thrash, death metal, it's all popular, but there is also a mass amount of people that think that the stuff that we play and listen to as metal and thrash is still like Satan's music, you know. So therefore, it is an unpopular style of music. And a lot of times I've found that, you know, the style of growling and screaming, that's what turns people off from heavy metal. And for some people, the opposite. But so that was just another example how even the smallest things, such as a battle of the bands, is fixed, can be rigged. Things get done to help promote something, you know. And a lot of times, the promoting that governmental society does to us is not for our well-being at all. And there's a vast majority of people that know that, but don't want to talk about it. There's a vast majority of people that are ashamed of that because they felt like they've been fooled by something they truly, truly trusted in. Smoke and mirrors. I like where I'm at today. It's not luxurious. It's by far not regular or ordinary by any means. To some people, the way I live is not even ideal. To others, it can't be done. So therefore, I sit in this driver's seat and sleep in the back seat constantly. Waking up every day just to see what part I play in this 3D level called life on that day, because every day is different. Sometimes I got to be the student, sometimes I got to be the teacher, and it alternates, you know. It's and to me, when I can do that and like go with the flow, learn some new stuff, and then teach some stuff to some people, you know, that to me brings forth balance, because it just lets me know that I'm equal to a lot of people, you know. And we are the yin to everybody's yang, you know. What we do, you know, it's a counterbalance. Or we show up and we play the part we're supposed to play, and another person shows up and plays the part he's supposed to play. We can learn and teach off each other, you know. And to me, that feels and seems progressive. Like right here, it feels like it's a progressive way to be. as long as the mind doesn't get involved, the ego doesn't get involved, because that ego fucks everything up. Always has and always will. Why? I'm not smart enough to tell you that, but I recognize that for me. But yeah, having some morals, having some boundaries, what types of people I want to be around with in order to enhance my frequency or enhance their frequency. And you know, it's a back and forth game, but when you match up with spirits that just cannot either receive or give to an equal balance of what's being put out, that's when I seem to start questioning everything. So I know, which, you know, questioning things isn't a bad at all to do. I mean, you should most definitely, because everybody's different, every spirit's different, every intention is different, and it's pretty important to check those. Make a checklist to where your mind's going to where you feel like your intuition is pointing you towards. I find that when I'm hanging out with the people I'm supposed to hang out with, I don't go into this backwards mode. I'm not taking steps back in life. I'm continuously moving forward and making goals to do so. And I feel when I get around the wrong people or put too much time or energy with the wrong people, that I start to move backwards. It's really a crazy thing to like acknowledge and understand, you know. For me anyways, most people it makes sense. At one point in time I thought I was able to change people's thoughts or minds just through suiting up and showing up for them. And I come to the realization that there are some people you cannot suit up and show up for. You just have to allow them to be. And for me, if I didn't like this is how I am. So with people I hang out with, like if I'm going to hang out with you a lot, you better be talking and you better be around the right people. If you're not, I'm slowly going to fade away and I'm slowly going to disappear, because who other people hang out with, of course, they absorb those other people's energies, or they start to mimic what those other people are like. And if they're hanging out with people that aren't good people and are generally just fucking douche canoes, they pick up that energy and they start acting that way. This has been strictly through my experience, and I've done the same. I've experienced it with me. And that's so for me to hang out with people that are hanging out with other people, and so they're becoming somewhat these people, you know, of like-minded and energetic frequencies of the same, then I'm going to start doing that. I can't do that. It's not how I'm here to be. And it's not who I am. I can't change up, drop my frequency, just because in my head I think it's the right thing to do, and I think it's the good way to go with giving out my energy and my time, and because it's all precious, right? And sometimes that means turning your backs and letting go of people that you really love, that you genuinely love. Because I can't sit around and wait for people to change, situations to change. I need to keep moving forward. I just gotta keep moving forward. You know, I've taken time out for other people a lot, most of my life. And now I'm to the point where I'm not doing that. I am focusing so much more on things that are going to enhance my energy and enhance my spirit and keep me motivated to stay moving forward and to stay open-minded to learn. So I can be around those energies if I want to be in that heart space, you know. So that's why I say dealing with people that have a lot of mental disorders and they go through stages that are very inconsistent. I've been there and I put a lot of time in with people like that, and it's taught me a lot, and it's made me grateful for where I'm at with my disorders, but it's also shown me how much I've grown, and it's also gave me the idea that, you know, you keep putting yourself in with the wrong energies, you're eventually going to go back to where you were. And I'm not willing to do that for no situation and nobody. My mind has put me in situations a lot to where I'm trying to be a friend, and I'm trying to hold space for people. Yet, if the tables were turned and I needed the favor back, I wouldn't be able to receive it. I wouldn't, you know. It's almost like community energy. Come use it when you need it type deal, you know, which is not good for anybody. But I felt that's how I've placed my energy out on the table at times. You need the energy? Here, I got plenty. Take it. It's not a good way for me to be. So I have become a lot more selective in the last few months of who gets my energy. Because my energy is precious. My energy is golden. And I don't care what anybody says or thinks about that statement, because it's really nobody's fucking business. Just like what people say behind my back or do or whatever, it's not none of my business. It wasn't brought to my attention. So therefore, it is none of my business. And I don't really care. It's when things are brought up to me that I start caring a little bit, because people are actually taking time out to be honest rather than be a kiss ass or a brown nose or whatever, you know. They're being honest, genuinely. And I've had to let go of friends like that as well, only for the fact that, yeah, it's nice to be called out. It's nice to have somebody to like make you take accountability, but yet the energy, like I said, just wasn't where it needed to be in order for the relationship or the situation to grow to something bigger and better. even though the mind thought maybe it could grow and maybe something really cool could come out of this. But since I've been learning more and practicing more to come from here rather than here, it's a no-brainer. Haha, made a joke. From here, yeah, no-brainer. We don't need the brain. I don't need the brain. I need the brain to function and do motor skills and figure out shit at work and working on things. But you know, when I'm making decisions that have to do with other people and, you know, big life situations, I really got to be, you know, I got to have those boundaries. So I don't know, I just came on here. I got distracted because there's a car behind me. I don't know what the fuck they doing, but I got really distracted. I don't know, I feel like my life today is pretty amazing. I don't mind being in my car. I don't mind having to work where I work today. Before I had a problem, I've had to go through a lot of phases to figure out whether I was going to stay at my job, but there's so many benefits I get from it, so I'm not, you know, changing up anything. If a window of opportunity comes open for me and it's a better deal than what I'm doing now, then I'm definitely going to take it. But you know, right now I kind of got a good routine, I got a good schedule. The pay, that's, yeah, we won't go there because that's never going to be right. But I'm in a pretty good spot. I got a lot of freedom, you know. And I think it's all based on having to do really tough things in life. Having to say goodbye to certain people you really do care about. Having to not be around certain family members, even though you love them, you know. You just have to do what's, I have to do what's healthy for my spirit. Because there's not a lot of years left. There's just, and I want to make a positive impression on my 3D life for myself, not for anybody else. I do a lot of things for self because I know when I'm doing that when the time comes and somebody needs me there for them, I can accommodate them because I've been putting in time for myself. And that's what a lot of people don't get. You can give all you want. And when your giver gets caught, then what? You suffer. You feel drained. You feel like you haven't accomplished anything. It just all goes downhill. For me, at least. So, yeah, life is a challenge. Life is definitely a perspective, and where your perspective at is really gonna create your travels here. As it took me so long to learn, but yet it's just like, duh. What the hell? It took you how long to figure that out? How many situations? But that's always the funny thing about the universe. Always bring you back to the situation where you hadn't learned the correct lesson. So you have to relive it again. Very interesting. But yeah, I'm gonna go down and see a buddy of mine, do an interview shortly, and see what comes of it. Namaste to you, because the weirdness in me will always uplift and support the weirdness in you. Have a good night.